Hey, welcome to another episode of Black Girl Interrupted. Of course, you know it's your girl Ashley, and I got my sis with me to the left.
One of
Keith,
these ways.
come on, girl, you're supposed to tell them who you are.
I
So,
am Keish, owner of Colors by Keish and founder, CEO, or Let She Eat. We're going to do that. And host of Keish's Corner that airs on Fridays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time.
and 7:30 p.m. Central Time for the ones that get a little confused. So,
Like
before
myself.
we get started, let me go ahead and run that intro for you tonight. Welcome to Black Girl Interrupted. We like to think that we are the new go to conversation on all things concerning the Black woman experience, whether it's wellness, self love, self care, or empowering one another. Black Girl Interrupted will interrupt that daily grind, uplift, change, and empower women of color to a whole new level. Don't forget to join us each and every Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Central Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, for all brand new episodes. All right. So y'all already know every Tuesday night you're going live with your girl, Ashley, and we talking about all the interruptions that all Black women encounter throughout life. So tonight, as I stated, every episode is special to me. But tonight is very personal. Tonight I'm putting a spotlight on domestic violence awareness. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So we're gonna put the spotlight on it tonight. I'm gonna share my story, my journey, as well as my road to recovery and how I became a domestic abuse survivor. So without further ado, I got another video that I want to show to you guys, and then we're going to jump right on into the conversations.
October is National Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Domestic violence is a pattern of behavior that includes use of threats of violence and intimidation for the purpose of gaining power and control over another person. The COVID-19 pandemic has led to an increase in domestic violence incidents nationwide, with people having no choice but to spend more time at home. Gilbert was no exception. Calls for domestic violence have increased compared to this time last year. The reason for these calls are also different, with an increase in the intensity of crimes. Remember, domestic violence can happen to anyone, regardless of race, ethnicity, education level, religion, gender, or age. 40% of the incidents reported in Gilbert involved people between the ages of 26 and 37. Check in with your loved ones, even if you're unable to see them in person. If you think you are being abusive, or you or someone you know is being abused, call the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence at 1-800-799-7233 or text 741-741 to speak to a live crisis counselor. For more information regarding emergency helplines as well as non-emergency resources, please visit gilbertaz.gov/DVAM.
All right, so we're back. So now you know, tonight, again, we are talking about domestic violence awareness. Again, if you are a victim or you know somebody, I will post those numbers in the link. Reach out, talk to somebody, get some help, get out before it's too late. So without further ado, sis, let's go ahead and let's jump right on into it. So there we go. Domestic violence. What is it? What's your definition? You know, sis, what's your definition of domestic violence? Let's talk about it. Let's go ahead and let's bring it to the forefront. Let's shine the light on it because it's happening every day. The rates are consistently increasing, especially amongst Black women.
Right. So my take on domestic violence is actually anything that involves me, to me, verbal abuse, physical abuse, mentally abused, anything that requires or shows some form of abuse, no matter what it is. But domestic abuse today involves a lot of physicality, where men and or are women can be the abuser, but it's just physical to the point where there's either no possibility of return, you're losing something, whether it's just an eye, your hearing, and it's been done before. So that's my form of abuse. Anything, well, domestic violence, but anything that involves abuse.
And just to kind of piggyback off what you're saying, when you hear the word domestic violence, people automatically assume physical. But
Hmm.
there's emotional abuse where you're belittling somebody. You're telling your partner, your mate, whoever, you're not good enough. Oh, you're too fat. You need to lose weight. If you look like, if you lose weight, you'll look like this person. Oh, you need to gain some weight. Or your butt is too small. Mentally abusing somebody, having somebody believe, you know, not believing in themselves, their self-worth. You're taking that away from a person, and again, me being a domestic abuse survivor, I experienced all three of that. It was mental, it was emotional, and physical. So it's not just a physical thing, but a lot of people, like I say, contrary to believe, people automatically assume when you say domestic violence is physical. And
Yes,
that's not always the case. You know, do you know anybody, sis, that has experienced this? Do you know anybody?
I do. Matter of fact, it was very close. It was very close, and I used to watch this person actually get beat on, and nobody did anything to help. At that point, me, I was just stuck. You know, I didn't know what to do. I'm young at this point, and to watch the person actually like get beat on and scream for help, and nobody's there to help her. So yes, I've seen it done. We're talking physical. Every time it was always something, two bad eyes or anything. So yes, I've seen it done firsthand.
How did that make you feel to see that? You
I was
know,
I was scared. I was scared only because what if he kills this woman like in front of me? What if, even though at this point it's not about me, just seeing somebody just helpless. So it's more. It just made me feel. I won't say awkward, but I was just scared and afraid for her because again, I didn't know what to do. I'm a youngin at this point.
so did you ever tell anybody about this person that was being abused?
They knew. They knew
And
her.
what did they do?
Nothing.
That's typical. A lot of people don't want to involve themselves in domestic violence situations, because you don't know that person's train of thought in that moment. They could kill you and the person, or whatever the situation is. But I say, if you know anybody, report it. Try to help them. If you don't mind. How old were you, sis, when you were seeing this?
I would say about maybe 10, 11 ish.
Oh, so you were young.
Yeah. I, trust me. Yes, I was very young. I couldn't do anything.
Did that affect you in any way as you got older, thinking, if you what knowing what you know now, and you look back, yeah, you were 10, 11 years old, do you feel like maybe I should have called 911, or maybe I should have, went somewhere else, and
Well, now that we talk about it, here's the thing. You like you said, you don't want to involve yourself in something because you know that person. Okay, so in me, if I said anything, I don't know where I would be. You see what I'm saying? Like I don't know what the relationship would be like. So no, I didn't think about calling then, and now that I'm older, If I thought about it, I probably would calm down. I would say something. But then again, it'll be another issue. But I would definitely try to stop
So what about now? Now that you're older, let me ask you this, have you yourself ever experienced a domestic violence situation?
it. Fortunately, no, I haven't. Um, I haven't experienced it. Um, if we're talking about it was like relationships, no. Had I had a guy try to put his hand on me, yeah, no, nothing related to a relationship, just regular fight.
Boy, I tell you, sis, just when you think about domestic violence and the things you see on TV, I tell people it's real. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? Like domestic violence is real. This ain't no, oh, just a hit here and there or a smart remark here or there. This stuff is long term and it does go on to affect you long term. You know what I'm saying? It affects you mentally, emotionally. I remember I was a little girl, and my father was abusive to my mother, and so when my mother left, my father, my mother had moved away, had left him and everything, and my mother moved away. He broke into my mother's apartment. My mother was in the shower, she was getting ready for work, and I was, by my grandmother's house. And again, my daddy broke into my mother's apartment and he shot at my mother because my mother was leaving him. You know, Fortunately, me and my sister, we weren't there when it happened, but I'm so thankful that my mother, the bullet missed her. My mother, when she talks about it, like when I ask her about it, she says all she remembers, she feels the bullet going past her face. She felt the bullet
Right.
go past her face. My mom said if she would have moved her head just a little slightly, I believe she said to the left, the bullet probably would have hit her. It probably would have hit her. So I
And
just, I thank God for that. I think, app, hold up, we have a comment. Terror artist for he says any man that hits on a woman is a coward. Absolutely. And then too, you have to take into consideration terror artists. It's not just men. You have women that are physically abusive to men. I have seen cases. I know somebody personally, and she was mentally abusive to her husband. She belittled her husband. She made her husband feel like he was less than a man because she made more money than him. She told her, "Oh, my job is better than yours. You'll never amount to what I'm doing right now." So it's not. I want people to understand it's not just men, but it's women that are physically and mentally abusive. You know what I'm saying? And
right.
husband and wife, boyfriend, girlfriend. You know, mothers. Parents could be abusive to their children. So don't think that domestic is just, husband and wife, boyfriend and girlfriend, but mothers do it to their children, fathers do it to their children. It's a well-rounded type of thing, so it's not just that. So sis, this leads me into the next question. One of the things that we don't discuss, what are the signs of domestic abuse? You tell me. What are the signs, sis?
Let me tell you, it starts off peaches and cream, but when it starts getting to the point where this person becomes verbally abusive,
Okay.
it's gonna eventually lead to being you're gonna become mentally abused, and then that's going to lead to
Well,
abuse.
okay.
So those are the signs. It's gonna eventually get to the point where okay, she can do one thing, she can do another thing, and then it's levels. That's it. It's levels to it. It is definitely it. The signs. You will
So
see those first. Whether it's just the verbal abuse, Or some people just come out physically abusive.
So let me kind of piggyback off what you're saying. So what are the signs of domestic abuse? Hmm. I'm gonna pull it together tonight. I promise I'm gonna pull it together tonight. So what are the signs? Um, when they start to talk about how you dress, that's a sign. Oh, that outfit makes you look too fat. Oh, that outfit makes you look too skinny. Oh, you don't look like Tyra Banks with that dress on. I don't know what the hell made you put that damn dress on. That's a sign. You know, if they, the least little thing you'll say to them sets them off, they may not hit you, but if they raise their hand to hit you, that's a sign of abuse. That's a sign because it's about to escalate from now he's gone or she has gone from being mentally and emotionally abusive to you that now I'm raising my hand to you or I'm threatening you or I'm telling you, you keep playing, I'm gonna kick your ass. If you don't do what I tell you to do, I'm gonna slap the shit out of you. That's the signs. You know, listen to what they say, listen to how they speak to you, listen to how they are when you're around. Are they belittling to you? You know, that's the sign. You know, that's definitely a sign, you know. Um, and then sometimes, you know, we see those signs and we chalk that up like, oh, he's not gonna do anything or she's not gonna do anything. Oh, he's just talking, she's just talking. No, no. The first time that they raise their hand to you need to get the hell on down the road.
Exactly. Exactly. Don't wait around because that's how things it escalates. He feel like he can do it one time and you come back, he's gonna do it the second time. So sis, let me ask you, and I know you are a domestic abuse survivor. So I want you to tell me your story. How did you two meet?
Okay. So I was 16 when I met him.
Mm-hmm.
16, 15, 16 when I met him. We met through a mutual friend. His cousin was my friend. So he was like, oh yeah, you know, I want to hook you up with my cousin. So I was like, all right, cool, you know, whatever. So we started talking. Like we were talking on the phone. We were young. So when I got up, so you know, 16, we got into the relationship. Um, by the time I was 17, 18, I had moved in with him and his mom, his dad, brothers, sisters. I had moved in with the family at this point.
Right.
So he would go to jail. But before he went to jail, like he would say, oh, you so stupid, you dumb. Because I dropped out of school. Running behind this dude, I dropped out of school. Yes, I did. I was in love. At least I thought I was in love. You know what I'm saying? I'll say that. I thought I was in love. So he went to jail. You know, I went back by my mama house. He got out of jail. I came back. So it went from verbal to then it became mental and emotional. You know, it was you stupid. Oh yeah, I see hoes look way better than you. You skinny. Don't nobody want you. You freckle face bitch. It went to that. But I was like, okay, well he'll change. He went to jail again. You know, this time it was 6 months. I think it was like 5, 6 months. He went to jail. Go back by my mama house. My mom was like, you don't need to go over there, blah, blah, blah. But, I was 18 at this point. I was grown. I was like, whatever. So my mom was like, you do whatever the hell you want to do. So he gets out of jail. I go back. I'm running back. He goes to jail. I go back. I leave. He get out of jail. I go back. So finally this time I stayed. So the first time he hit me, we were at, I want to say maybe a cousin's house or something. He was drinking.
Mm-hmm.
That was the very first time he had hit me.
So
So,
before you continue, after he hit you, did anybody stop him?
oh, his brother was like, his brothers, at the time, they were like, oh, you don't put your hands on her, what did she do? And, they stopped it. I cried, I left. He apologized. I love you. I'm sorry. I was drunk, blah, blah, blah. So I forgave him. I went
Mm-hmm.
back. So I want to show you something. I really want to show you something. So the abuse continued. That's me. That's me. Let me remove that so you guys could see. That's me. I was 19 years old. I was about 97 pounds. That's how much the abuse started to take a toll on me. I was so tiny. But I love this man. But that's me. That's me.
So the abuse became so overwhelmed that you became stressed to the point where you lost a lot of weight, right?
I couldn't eat. It was like I'm trying to really find a word. At that, what's the word? I became an introvert, I guess, so to say. And that day that I took that picture, that night he whooped my ass.
Okay, so another thing, another sign of abuse. Did at any point he tried to isolate you from your family?
Oh yeah, my friends. I used to work at McDonald's, and he would come to my job, and he would sit in my job. I would say things like, if I saw a guy and I would be like, oh, I like his shirt. Go be with that nigga then. Go be with him then. And all I said was I like the shirt. So I got to a point where when we would go places, I would just stay quiet. I would just kind of sit there. What's wrong with you, Ash? Oh, nothing. Because I didn't want to do anything to provoke him. So yeah, absolutely. That night, if I go back and I look at that picture, sis, he whooped my ass that night. He sure did. I remember that day.
And I think a lot of men do that because they want to feel. I think it comes from a form of intimidation of a woman too. I think some of them feel as if they can't take advantage of nobody else, so they try to do it to the woman that they with, knowing how in love she is with you. You know, you with a woman who love your dirty draw, and you take advantage of her doing something like that to make you feel powerful. It's more of like, if I can't help you, nobody else can. They ain't gonna want you with two black eyes.
And he used to tell me that. Oh, if you leave me, nobody's ever gonna want you. Look at you. I got to keep putting this picture up because he made me feel like I was worthless. I believed that. Look how small I was. Nobody wanted a little bitty ass woman like that. I was 19 in that picture. I was 97 pounds, 98 pounds. I was under 100 pounds in that picture. I was under 100 pounds in that picture. You know what I'm saying? Hold up, we got a comment. That's my brother, y'all. He says, I will never do my black queen like that. I know, and
That's right, Gary. Some men don't know what they have. Some men don't know what a queen is. Instead, they try to make you feel small. So we appreciate that comment. We appreciate that comment because some men do not know the meaning of having a queen, of having a good woman.
looking back at that picture and looking at me today, I just don't believe it would have made me the woman I am today. I really don't. It was hard. It's hard for me to look at that picture today and to know.
And to think like any moment that he laid his hands on you, it could have been your last. So the first time women, you please leave because it may not be a next time. You may not get a chance to walk out that situation. You may not get a chance to tell someone, you know. So let me ask you, when, right, right, and I think men, and other women who have friends who are abusive, no matter what it is, or men who are abusive, I think they need friends around them who will call them out on that.
Absolutely. And that goes back to, yeah, you were 10 or 11 years old, sis, when it happened. So you were young. So you didn't know what to do. You know what I'm
I didn't
saying?
know what to do.
So it was like you were helpless in that situation. But there were people, in my situation, people stood around and they watched him do this. They watched him do this. You know what I'm saying? Hold on, we got one more. Hey, you're
That's
absolutely right,
right.
Sarah Artist.
We gotta protect our black kings at all costs.
Absolutely. And in this day and age, we're not protected enough. You know what I'm saying? We're so disrespected. Black women, we are so disrespected. And as we go on, as I continue to, go on my journey and share my stories, I definitely want to, uplift each and every black woman. I may can't uplift everybody, but I'm gonna do the best that I can do because I want you to understand that you are worthy, that you are appreciated. Me during that time, I didn't feel worthy. I was depressed, and looking back at it, it was a lesson learned. I really don't want to say a lesson learned, but now I know what to look for.
Yeah, so at that point, you know not to be in a relationship with somebody who will do that to you. And that's what I'm saying. Being around people who I seen go through that, it taught me a lesson. It taught me, okay, when you start doing that, then you seen that before. Don't you sit around and take that shit, but it's easier said than done. Some women just don't. Some women are scared to leave, or some women don't know where to go. You know who they can talk to, because at this point he did isolated you from all your family. They feel like you can't come back because I told you so. When all I needed was moral support.
But it's like, it's so, and I tell people it's easier said than done.
Right.
It's easy to tell somebody to leave. But when this person has made you feel this big, you're scared to go because they made you feel like nobody's ever gonna want you. Nobody, ain't nobody gonna love you like me. Ain't nobody gonna want you. Look at how you look. I remember a time, because I'm an asthmatic. I remember a time I had an asthma attack and he left me in the street. I remember another time I was going home to go see my mom. I was getting on the bus and he beat me up at the bus stop, tore my shirt, he spit on me. I had to get on the bus and ride home like that. But that wasn't enough to make me leave.
Was it just that you were scared, or it was just more of your heart was in the relationship? Okay, or I love him just that much to stay.
It was a mix of all three. And even if you go back to my first episode, and I talked about I had never seen what it was like for a man to love a woman. So I didn't know. I didn't grow up in a situation where my father was healthy to my mother, or ever see my mom in a healthy relationship. My mom was in one I really wouldn't call it healthy because my mom dated this man for like 2 years and then come to find out he was married. But he was good to me and my sister. Like he was a father figure. You know what I'm saying? So it says, please encourage our young ladies to value themselves despite what their circumstances may be at the time. And you're absolutely correct, Gary. But me, 18, 19, I didn't know.
You didn't have that around you.
So I honestly did not know what it was like for a man to love a woman. I didn't know. I did not know. And like I say, if I look back, knowing what I know then, knowing what I know now, had I known then, I would have left the moment he told me I was stupid. The moment he told me I was ugly, I would have left then. I would have, beef, bitch, get the fuck on. That's how it would have been. But, because I never had that around, my brothers were abusive to their girlfriends, that's all I saw. And then I felt like nobody cared because they would see him do this. Like I remember one time he jumped on me in the front yard of his mama's house. His daddy came out. And so his daddy stopped him. That was the day he beat me up at the bus stop because I was trying to leave. He had torn my shirt. Like I said, he spit on me. My nails were broke. I had a starter jacket that I had to put on because I didn't have another shirt to put on. He had torn my shirt. I had to ride the bus home like that.
This is making me angry. And I don't know if everybody could see because I feel like my eye twitching. Like I want to fight him.
Right?
No woman deserves that. Like, and then that's embarrassing. You out here and you treat me. It doesn't matter where I'm at. You should not be treating a woman like a piece of paper. You out here treating me like trash. You spit on me like trash.
But he grew up like that. His daddy used to beat on his mama like that.
Mm-hmm.
So he just mimicked what he saw. His dad was abusive to his mom, so he was like that. And even the woman he got with after me, he was jumping on her.
Let me tell you something, ladies. Let me tell you something. I can't say what I would have done, but you get help or you shoot the nigga. Okay.
I mean, yeah, but it's hard. It all depends because it's hard to prove self-defense. You know that. It's hard to prove self-defense, especially when we're black.
Yeah. But a black woman or I think it would be harder to prove if you were a black man getting abused. That's where the thing come in at. You have a better chance as a woman saying, I shot him in self-defense because he was abusing me.
I mean, let's look at Marissa Alexander. I believe that's her name, the lady in Florida, whose baby daddy was jumping on her. She didn't shoot him. She shot in the air. She fired a warning shot. And they arrested her. Black lady.
For endangering others?
I forgot what the charge was, but because her children were upstairs in the bed sleep, but her baby daddy was jumping on her. I believe she's out of jail now, but this happened about maybe about 4 or 5 years ago. I know her last name is Alexander, but it was in Florida. And she didn't shoot him. She shot in the air. And then the baby daddy admitted that he was jumping on her. but they still arrested her. She went to jail. They tried to give this lady 20 years.
I wish she wouldn't have missed, but I'm not big. It's just like don't you left me. I just you want to protect yourself as a woman. But
Absolutely.
a man with so much strength, you're helpless at this point. And I'm not encouraging anybody to just be like, you know what, I'm helpless. I'm about to go to shoot him. Get some help first. Reach out for help. Reach out to anybody. Because for what my sister here is telling me, my eye just don't want to stop twitching because I'm just that angry for her that you have to endure that. Nobody shouldn't have to go through that. To get spit on, be on in front of everybody. So, what was the fine?
Oops. There we go. That's what I was trying to put up because that will lead
Go.
us into
Okay.
absolutely. So, what are the triggers? What provokes a person? What triggers a person? In my situation, alcohol was his trigger. Drugs was his trigger. That would set him off. If he had a bad day, if he went to work and came home and had a bad day, I had a bad day. If he had a bad day, Ashley had a bad day too. I had a bad day. Absolutely.
So, drugs, alcohol, and his mood was the trigger for him to attack you. Okay, so I haven't, like I said, I haven't experienced that because I'm not sure what goes on, and I thank God. But how many times was he triggered? So how many times did you have this situation? Triggered.
I don't even think I have enough fingers or enough hands to even tell you. If I could be at work and of course I didn't have a car, he didn't have a car. So if I told him, oh, I was getting off at 10 o'clock and he was outside the job waiting on me at 10 o'clock and it was 10:15 when I walked out the door, here it goes. If I went to the store, where the fuck you went? It don't take that. The store just around the corner. Every little thing I did, it was a trigger. If I breathed the wrong way, it was a trigger. So I can't just really pinpoint, but I do know alcohol and drugs played a major part. There were things that I didn't know. Like I knew he was alcoholic. I knew that.
Right.
But then I came to find out that he was on cocaine. He used to smoke sherm, wet, clicker juice, as we used to call it back in the day. That was weed dipped in embalming fluid. That's,
Wait, we dipped in what?
embalming fluid. He used to smoke that.
Like embalming fluid that they use for
Dead
deceased people?
people, he would dip his weed in it. He would dip his cigarettes in it. I remember one day his brother had to go get him because he was in the middle of the street rolling.
So of all those times, you still made it out. Did you ever get to the point where you thought like this was gonna be your last time? And
Every
what I
time.
mean by your last,
Every time. Every time.
so over the time, did the beating become worse than the last one? Even though they're all, what I'm saying is, some they get so aggressive, like they just get angry and then they just really put all their might into you. So did you ever feel like, okay, this was worse than the last time? This was worse than the last time.
It was a couple of times I ended up in the hospital. He beat me to the point where I had an asthma attack. I told you he left me in the street. And you just have to give me a moment.
Take your
Just give me a
time.
moment. Just a moment. He had beat me so bad that I had an asthma attack and had a seizure. And his brother's girlfriend at the time was trying to help me, and he told her, "No, leave me there." I told her, "Stupid ass, don't fucking come out here," was all he could say. Yep. And the ambulance told him, had they not have called, I probably would have died. But that still wasn't enough for me to leave. It wasn't enough. Of course, I didn't feel worthy. But when I finally did muster up the courage to leave, he almost killed me that night.
So what was your last straw?
That day, I forgot what we were doing that day, but he was in the kitchen cooking. Hold on, sis. Wait a minute. Hey, Ro. So he was in the kitchen cooking. And I forgot what I was doing, but I think we had argued that day. And I remember he yelled at me, said something to me. So I had turned to come out of the kitchen. Hey, boo. Um, I'm trying to get my thoughts together. So I had turned to come out the kitchen. And he was in the kitchen. He was boiling some water. He was making some noodles. And all I remember is it felt like somebody had hit me in the face with a bag of nails. He had taken that pot of water. I think I was trying to leave or something I was doing. But he had took that pot of water, that boiling water, and threw it on me. I just remember falling to the floor. I balled up in the night. What could I do? The police were called. Police came. They didn't arrest him that night. They said, "Oh, we don't see any marks on you."
So just because they didn't see any marks, that didn't prompt for arrest.
He wasn't arrested that night. So I had called my home girl to come and pick me up. I just remember waking up the next day. All this was burned. My face, my neck, my arm. I had first degree burns on my face and my neck. and a second-degree burn on my arm. My eye was swollen shut. By this time, my face had swollen. It was swollen. I had to go to my mom's job like that. I went, so I went to my mom's job. My mom said, "Don't come upstairs." I had sunglasses on because I couldn't see. My eye was swollen shut, literally. So my little cousin came for to pick me up, and he took me to the ophthalmologist, is where I had to go to. Doctor told me, he said it's too soon to tell if she's gonna be blind or not. Too soon. We'll have to wait for the swelling to go down. That happened July 22nd, 1999. I remember that day. Every day it rolls around, I think about it.
So when did the police arrest him?
He was not arrested until July 30th, 1999. That's the arrest record. They had charged him with aggravated assault. It might be a little small on the screen, so I don't know if people can really see. But July 22nd, 1999, that he did unlawfully and intentionally and knowingly cause seriously bodily injury to Ashley Pitts by throwing scalding water on the complainant, which is me. So I went to the police station. By this time, the skin on my face was starting to peel off. So one side of my face was pink, the other side was brown.
Right.
And I wouldn't go anywhere. I stayed in the house. I didn't want anybody to see me like that. I didn't want anybody to see my face. I looked horrible. I was so ugly. They arrested him. They called me. They say he's been arrested. You would have thought at that point I would have felt some kind of relief. I
So how
didn't.
was you feeling?
I was mad at myself for calling the police on him. I'm not ashamed to say that I was, because I loved him. At least I thought I did. At least I thought I was in love. So I went to the jail to go see him twice. I went.
And if you don't mind me asking, did he act concerned at all?
No. It was just, I can't believe you did this to me. You know I didn't do that to you on purpose. You know it was an accident. He
Do
still
you
had
think
that.
it was an accident?
I knew it was an accident. Now, that I'm older and, and now that I look back and revisit the situation, I knew it was an accident. But he still had that power over me because he was facing 30 years. So me, I went to the district attorney, told him I didn't want to file charges.
So what made you do that? Is it because
He made me feel bad for doing it. Again, he still had that control. He still had that power over me. He still had that control. Who goes to see somebody in jail after they have assaulted you? But I went. He said, you got to write a letter to the district attorney and tell him you don't want to file charges. So I went. I wrote the letter. But at that point, the district attorney told me, he said, it's not up to you anymore. It's up to the state.
hmm,
It was out of my hands. It wasn't up to me. It was up to the state now. Because this was a felony. This was felony aggravated assault. Because you threw boiling water on me. So I guess the state decided not to pursue the charges. He only did 90 days in jail and he got out.
So after he got out, y'all had any contact?
No. That was a part of my life I wanted to forget. That was a part of I knew then. It may not have been the next time. It may not have been the next time. So I went on with my life. I went on with my life. I went to beauty school. That was the very first picture I took when the scars healed. That was my very first picture.
Looks good too.
I still have the scar on my arm, but I wear it like a badge of honor. I don't look at myself as, I look at myself now as a survivor because I made it. That picture right there, I felt so beautiful. I slowly started to gain weight back. Because I was out of that situation. And a couple of years after I took that picture, I had my son. And that was the greatest gift God could have ever given me. But I look at that picture, I look at that smile. I was so happy that day. And for the first time, I really actually felt beautiful. For the first time, I was free. I was free. I was finally free. I didn't look back. I never went back. Never. So that picture right there was my road to recovery. That day. And the young lady that did my hair, she made me feel so beautiful. I don't know if she's watching, but Katina, thank you. Monica, thank you for coming to get me that night. But that picture, baby, is gorgeous.
And see, and it's a lot of women who constantly go through these things and do not make it out. They do not make it out. So luckily, you made it out to tell your story.
I
To
just,
go, no, to get help. When you see the signs, make that a sign for you to leave because it's gonna only get worse.
and I didn't know. You know, I wanted to leave, and I think my mom knew. Well, of course she knew, but she didn't say anything because she knew I was just gonna go right back. She knew I was. And I didn't want to face my mom because I didn't want to hear that I told you so.
Right.
So when I tell you I hit the ground and I took off running, I never looked back. I wear that, like I say, my scar. Let me see if you see it. But I wear it like a badge of honor. That's
Um,
all that's left. I wear it like a badge of honor. Because some women don't even live long enough to tell their story. And knowing what I know now, I believe if I would have stayed, I probably wouldn't be here today to
sorry.
tell my story.
Mm-hmm.
And I really didn't want to do this episode tonight. I really didn't.
Wow.
But one person that I'm looking at on this screen encouraged me to tell my story because I could potentially be helping somebody else. Somebody may have this same story. Somebody may have a loved one that shares this same story. But I thank God every day that He brought me out of that storm. He brought me out of that situation. I thank God every day because it could have been worse. Like I say, who knows? It could have been hot water today. He could have been stabbing me the next. He could have been shooting me the next.
Funeral tomorrow. So again, I hope this story touches as many women as possible who's been gone through this. Don't be afraid to reach out. Inbox if you feel like you need to talk. Inbox Black Girl Interrupted or Ashley Pitts BGI. That's your connect right there. If you need encouragement, that is your encouragement. She's on Instagram and Facebook. Black Girl Interrupted. If you need someone to talk to,
Send me a message. Inbox me. I don't have much, but if you need a place to lay your head for a couple of days, I open my door. I don't want to see another woman or another man killed at the hands of their mate.
Miss Maggie T is requesting to be added to the stream.
Okay.
So, somebody
Did
is,
you can you send her the link?
yeah, hold on, Maggie.
Send her the link. We have our sister coming in. Let's see.
And like, everybody have a story. It doesn't have to be physical. You know, domestic violence starts off in many ways. Pay attention to the signs. Do not ignore the signs. Ignoring the signs, not necessarily a good thing. But this my good right here for sharing the story. But while we on a while we waiting for Maggie, um, I'm Keish of Keisha's Corner, and I'm actually looking for women, black women, um, to live stream with me 2 weeks from Friday. We're going to talk about businesses. This is where we start to uplift women, other businesses. I want to have a screen with all black women entrepreneurs. So if you're interested, send me an email at Keisha's Corner, KESSKORNER at gmail.com.
Were you able to
I
get
I did.
okay. I'm just waiting. So while we're waiting on our sister, let's talk about the ways to get out. We touched on two. Like I say, if you or somebody is in a domestic abuse relationship, please don't hesitate to send me a message. If you yourself are in a domestic violence relationship and you just need somewhere to lay your head for a couple of days, my door is open. I know it's easier said than done, but I'm here to tell you it does not get any better. There we go.
Do not be afraid to leave if you have to. Hi.
There's our sis. Hey.
Hey, how's my sound? Can you hear me?
Very good.
No echoes, no nothing, because I'm on my phone today. So
You're good. You sound good. How are you tonight?
I'm good. I kind of want to get in this conversation because this is a good one. So I definitely wanted to join in on it. I
Absolutely.
know you guys see me on Fridays with the corner right there, Miss Keish, but I also want to get in here too on your conversation.
Absolutely. Thank you, sis.
You're
Do
welcome.
you have do you have a story?
So I guess what it is, domestic violence and things like that. Um, I don't have a domestic violence where I was physically hurt. Um, I've always going through mental, you know, abuse.
Abuse.
Definitely. That's something that I've always dealt with. I've always had someone that put me down, make me feel like I'm no good. And of course, I knew friends, close friends, that definitely goes through this domestic violence, and whether it's physical, emotional, anything, it's hard to get out of that situation.
Yes,
Like
ma'am.
I've held on to my relationship too long most of the time because I'm thinking, oh, I need to be together for the kids. I need to do this. Um, I thought about them more than my happiness. And
And
when
we
that
do.
happens, and when that happens, you lose yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
You absolutely
Absolutely.
do.
I get it.
So I like I said, I've been separated. Of course, we working it out, but you know, not gonna say too much about it because I know he don't really watch anyway. But still,
You never know who else.
I was mentally broken down for the past starting like in it started around Mayish. Like I said, my daughter was going through her own mental thing and things like that. Of course, mama trying to hold herself together, and you got
Absolutely.
someone that's not behind you. As soon as we cause an argument and have an argument, it's just like, you pointed fingers at me and making me out to be just
The bad guy.
the bad guy, unstable and things like that. But it's like, what I go through. I go through anxiety and things like I don't take any medication for it. I may take my, herbal medication for it.
Yeah.
But um I try to just deal because I have to be a mother at the end of the day to my own that's going through it. So it's like when somebody is bringing you all the way down, it's just sometimes you settle for it and you just deal with it and you go back to it. And that's my issue. I keep taking myself back
So let me ask you this, sis. Why do you stay? Even
because
though you know it's not
mhm,
healthy for you, why do you stay?
because it's love. You just feel like you think that you're feeling love and you feel because you think about the good times. It's like there's not always bad days. So you think about it's like sometimes people like that can manipulate you too.
Yeah.
Say
Yeah.
the right things. You don't remove yourself all the way. It's like, oh, I'm done with this situation. They just know what the right things to say, the right,
To pull you back in.
to pull you back in.
So, sis,
So go ahead.
do you honestly think he's gonna change?
I want to believe it. We're supposed to be going to counseling and things like that, but money is tight right about now. These kids going back to school, back and forth. The holidays are coming up, so I actually haven't been even going to my own therapy sessions at this moment. You know, I mean, kids come first. I got to make sure to take it at that. That's one thing about everybody suggests therapy and therapy and therapy. Even with insurance, it's
Mm-hmm.
you got to be able to afford it too.
But
Absolutely.
because okay, so what if you two were to sit down and have a conversation? If you know the problem, if you two know the problem specifically, you think it would be a civil conversation where he can sit down and address that without someone telling him, okay, this is where you're wrong.
Yeah, we're definitely, like I said, it's not all bad right now. Like I said, because that's why I wasn't on this week, because of course we tried to do our little date night thing, and because we're trying to work through it. It's like he's not physically abusive, or he doesn't go out and cheat, anything like that. But it's just certain things that I just don't feel that he comes through on
Right.
when it comes to finances and things like that, and his understanding of my own daughter with her issues. It's just a teenager thing. That's nothing. And
Very
because I've
dismissive.
made, yes, yeah, just kind of takes his way out. His thing is, I don't want to argue. I just rather walk away from it, and that's me dealing with it. No, I don't like to argue, but I'm definitely coming to you because you need to hear what I have to say. I hate arguing with people, but when I feel that you're unattached, of course I'm gonna get more defensive and a little bit more angrier. Then it becomes into something more. Then we're shouting and words are going, and then it's like, well, I didn't mean that, but it's like sometimes maybe you do mean that
Right.
And once and
when
words
the time
and
is
a
heated.
lot of people fail to realize that once those words leave your mouth, you
Hmm.
can't take them back.
You can't put it back when it left from. Like Dr.
So
Phil said, you can't unring a doorbell. It
absolutely.
happened with me for a while. Like you said what you said. So
But sis, I want you to know, even though it's not physical,
It's
it's
still
still
abuse.
abuse,
Hmm. Amen.
emotional, because he's gotten you to the point where you're putting him before your children. And I don't want to see. You are beautiful. You are gorgeous. I'm not gonna cry, but you are worth so much more.
I'm telling you, I've gotten stronger though. I'm telling you, I used to. I'm telling you, if you talked to me back in May, I was no good. I wasn't sleeping well. I'm still having issues with sleeping a little bit. I'm getting better with it, but I'm telling you, I wasn't eating, and everybody knows I'm already naturally thin.
Yeah.
And for me to not even want to eat, I was extremely, extremely depressed. Trying to deal with me and deal with my, what's going on, because my son, he's autistic, so he has his seizure, and he's actually got to go to a neurologist Thursday because he's getting older, so his seizures are coming frequently.
Oh
So, and
boy.
he's nonverbal, so it's like not only I'm dealing with one person with a disability, now my daughter's been diagnosed with something, so it's like sometimes I feel like I'm completely alone in this.
But you're
Uh,
not. Don't ever feel like you have a whole sister circle. Although miles separate me and you got a whole sister right here in Houston. You're
came
not
right
alone.
on the
And you got
street,
a
mhm.
sister in Atlanta.
on the
You're
corner.
not
So
alone. So don't you ever feel like you got to walk this road by yourself. You got two sisters right here on live with you that's willing to walk on each side of you. Not behind you, not in front of you, but next to you. You're not on this you're not in this struggle alone. We all on this road to recovery and we walking hand in hand. When we feel like you falling, the two people on the side, we supposed to pick you up, right?
that's why I'm walking behind because I got your back, like you never know. It could put me back, but yeah,
I got her on the side, baby. I got her right side because guess what? When she fall, I can push her right on back up so she
but
can keep
you
on walking.
but you know how it is. We all, I'm pretty sure you go through it too. You rather just suffer in silence. You rather keep it to yourself. You rather just not say, well, these things are going on in my life. You know what I'm saying? Of course, you want to just look rocky, look perfect to other people.
But
But
I'm learning.
marriage is not easy.
No,
Marriage is definitely not easy, especially if you didn't go through that counseling right before.
I heard. I heard.
And we
But
opt out of that too, Keisha. We just like, oh, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. We'll talk through it. We'll communicate.
Yeah, because I didn't take it. I didn't take the counseling because I felt like, okay, we've been together long enough, so we know. But I'm fortunate to have that open line of communication. But
Hmm.
is there still some things we gotta work on? Yeah, of course, with everybody.
and that's, and a lot of people think that relationships are so easy, and they're not. You know, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife.
And he's trying. I'm just saying, it's like I give him that. He's trying. We definitely. I'm telling you, when I came back, because I told you we separated, and I was like, I am completely done. But we talked about. I was like, look, in order for us to work out, we really have to, because our issue was communication.
So let me ask you this: was the communication an issue on your end or his end?
It was really we just. It's funny because I can talk to anybody else like it's nothing, you know. But of course, I'm not telling everything to everybody. So I felt comfortable talking to other people, and that's a problem.
Is
We
it
said
Like I said, I go through my anxiety. I'm going through my own issues. I have like some deep dark things that I went through in my childhood, and like I came on the show and told you about that. Those things I still had struggled with at some point.
hmm
So finding someone to truly love me and accept those flaws and things like that, and understand that I'm going to have my ups and my downs because I'm not taking any medication. I refuse to do that. And if I'm having a bad day, I should be able to reach out to you and talk to you, and you listen and understand. It's like I've been telling you all of this been going on. I told him, I was like, I was extremely depressed. I wasn't eating, etc., etc. And you guess what? It's because of you and the things that's going on around my life right about now. You don't never tell me this, and it just seemed like I'm talking to a blank wall.
very
I tell you
dismissive
this
of
all
the
the time.
fact.
Mhm.
Very dismissive. But
Mhm.
sis, going back to what you just said a moment ago, you wanted somebody to really truly love you. Does Maggie love Maggie?
I I'm trying to. I'm struggling with that myself, to be
me
real.
too?
Like because of the fact that before him, I mean, really, honestly, it seemed like I kind of dated the same person over again. I'm not gonna lie.
Mm-hmm.
And first person was just like pretty much made me feel like I wasn't good enough. Period.
Oh.
And the person that he left me for throughout this whole relationship, oh, she, you know, scholar, graduate, that type of thing. But they're extremely unhappy.
See,
You know,
Absolutely.
well,
Mm.
everything goes. You could sit up here and you could brag about what you got and all that, baby. You're not happy. Just
You
leave.
and that gold, girl. You and that gold.
Wait, I said what I said.
I'm not gonna
but
play with you with that gold, girl.
but it just seemed like I've always just had to prove myself. Always, like even my parenting was in question at times. Like you got some nerve. Like I'm not protecting my girls and things like that. I just don't allow just anybody and everybody in my house. Like
Mm-hmm.
how Keish came over. Anybody that's gonna come in here, I trust. If
Absolutely.
I have a 2-story home, my kids are somewhere else.
Hmm.
No one is allowed upstairs. You know what I'm saying? I do have things that, and for one thing, no one's gonna be in my home without me being there.
Mm-hmm.
So when you question that type of stuff, well, let me know when you're gonna have a party next so I can come get them. Like, what does that mean? You don't think I can protect
Something
them?
wrong. Yeah.
And it
So
could be
it's like he always had an issue with just me. Period.
and it could be because you still have doors that are open that you just keep walking through and you don't close them all the way. But I want you as my sister to close one door at a time. One door at a time. because I want you to truly heal, because I want to see you in a real happy place.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it's easier said than done, but this, like I told you, this is a journey that we walking on together. I'm closing one door at a time. And if you need me to come stand with you at that door that you trying to close, and we got to talk and we got to cuss and cry about, we gonna do that. Because 2021, sis, we can't walk in carrying that baggage. It's weighing you down. And
Mm-hmm.
if you're not healthy to you, you can't be healthy to your babies.
You're right. And I definitely felt that. I was definitely no good trying to deal with her being in that facility, and I couldn't talk to her. I'm crying myself to sleep, waiting on her to call. Then I'm trying to let me get it together so I can at least sound like nothing's wrong while I'm talking to her because she can hear it. And she's like, "What's going on, Mom? You all right?" It's like, "No, I'm absolutely good. We're worried about you right now. You get yourself together." But it's like that's difficult. That's difficult trying to hold yourself together while your child is fragile.
And then, dealing with the emotional abuse from, your husband. And I
Mm-hmm.
mean, and that's a lot to put on your plate. That's a lot you trying to eat. You know, I tell everybody that's almost like Thanksgiving. When you go to somebody, when you Thanksgiving and you see all this food out here, you want to taste everything. You want the sweet potatoes, you want the dressing, you trying to load your plate up, and you
Mm-hmm.
can't enjoy it because you done ate so much of it. But like I say, I know right now yours may just be emotional, but that's not to say it won't turn physical.
But at this point, I think that's where you have to become. And I know us women, sometimes we're tired of being strong.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes, when it gets to that point, we have to know in our mind, hey, I'm not going to accept this. Like I said, it's hard for me to speak on this subject because I've never been through it. However, I've seen it. And from me seeing it's taught me a lot. Okay, I don't want nobody who's going to treat me like this. If you
Mm-hmm.
like this, then I know what I got to do. So I think women, we have to pull ourselves together mentally because I think once we get attacked mentally, everything else crumbles. Everything else crumbles. It's like the legs to a table. You don't have no legs, that table is done.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mhm.
our emotional distress starts mentally.
It does.
Everything else, if we get a man, let me tell you something. Like me, for instance. Growing up, I was called fat. I was called ugly. All these things. So that mentally, it
Fucked you up.
yeah. So now I believe that I am fat and I am ugly. So women, and that probably for everybody, we have to, like I said, it's easier said than done because our kids gonna always have a soft spot. It's gonna
Mm-hmm.
all we gonna always have them on our mental. But for everything else, I think we have to be mentally strong together. And
We
I
have
think we have that circle like we do to where we can call on one another, help build me back up mentally. Not it's just not telling me I'm pretty or I'm not fat. It's more of like, girl, you better get your shit together. You
Mm-hmm.
better put your crown. Here's your damn crown. Put it on. Don't you let the and I
Don't
talk to
let
my
nobody tell you nothing.
right. I talk to my friends every day, and at this point, when I talk to people different, and at this point, I'm telling them, and I don't care if I hurt your feelings. That's not gonna work. I'm not gonna. You're not gonna let this happen. You can't do this. No.
because a real friend, not to cut you off, sis, but a real friend, a real sister, you ought to be able to take if I come and tell you, come on, Meg, you need to get your shit together. It's
Mm-hmm.
time for you to come out of that hurt place. And that goes back to the conversation I had with my daughter. holding on to that hurt becomes a safe place for us.
Mm-hmm.
So we allow these men to mentally and emotionally abuse us because, well, okay, I'm gonna do this, but we mimic what we've seen.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know your background with your mom and your dad. I don't know if that it was a help.
Their relationship is they're
So
roommates
it's like,
at this point.
so it's like you're just kind of going off what you saw. That's what you were conditioned to see. And that's like, when I was telling my story earlier today, I didn't know what it was like for a man to love a woman. So I thought it was okay for this man to talk to me like I was beneath him.
Mm-hmm.
I showed Keish this picture. I don't know if you saw it, but that's me. That's how that man did me. I was about 97 pounds in that picture. And that was before it got physical. Matter of fact, that was the first time it got physical, that day when I took that picture. So we have, as women, we do have to know that all abuse is abuse. It doesn't matter how you slice the pie,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's verbal, mental, emotional, eventually it will get physical.
Yep. It's levels.
And I understand you love him and you want to keep it together for the children. But I'm going to tell you, sis, you need to put your children before that man, because that man could leave you today and tomorrow and your children are going to still be there.
Oh no, but trust and believe. No, they're absolutely fine. It's like, it's not the first time I've left and was completely done. It's just, in a marriage, I do protect them. I definitely do protect them. I do. But
So let me ask,
No, I'm talking about you. You protect you mentally. Protect
so let me
you mentally.
so sis, let me ask you one question. Why do you stay? Are you afraid to fail
no,
in
I
another
was
man?
doing. No, I was absolutely content with, because me doing this pandemic, because what it did was it held me back from my creativity.
Oh,
So when I was separated, and I'm telling you, all I thought about was work, 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 work. That's all I did. I created this brand. I've been just going hard. So I definitely lived and was like perfectly fine with being with nobody. So it's not that I'm afraid of failing and not being with somebody. It's just, I feel like, because we only been married like a short time.
okay.
So I always feel like at least try it again. We're still kind of fresh in it. It's like, let's try it, because everybody like, oh, leave and let it go, because some things can be fixed.
Absolutely.
Some things can be fixed, but you got to give it that chance first, and then after that, it's like, you know what?
It's just not gonna work. It's like
Yeah.
no, and that's a lot of that's a problem because a lot of people get married and one thing go wrong. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you did go before God, so at least let it be worth the try.
Yeah.
So
And
I
that's pretty much my point at this
yeah.
point. It's just, I definitely did it, because I'm not gonna lie, I've been dealing with them, because he hasn't been that present at some point. But finally it was like, okay, we're gonna get married. You got to be here. You have to be here.
So you saw the signs before you got married.
I saw. I felt, no. It was just that I wasn't ready to. Because I shacked up before with the first father.
Okay.
And that's where I got cheated on and everything else, and all that stuff. I mean, I'm telling you, housewife. I was acting like a housewife before the ring.
Okay.
Ironing clothes, cooking food. You come home, all you got to do is just lay your ass down. You know what I'm saying? I was doing a little too much. So I said, never again would I ever allow somebody to live with me
Without
And
him
then,
being my husband.
correct. So
Okay.
no, I was like, we were actually just we're together, but it's like, I'm not going to no longer do all of that for you.
Right.
Especially if you're not showing me. So you have to first prove it. And we really
Okay.
did. We broke it all the way down. We had a long talks. We hugged, cried, all that right before that happened. Because I broke it down to him and was like, because you already know I'm quick to leave. And he knows that. So what it is now is he's also insecure too. So it's just not him. It's me.
So it's now you have two broken people trying to
Mhm.
fix each other.
Mhm. Exactly. So he's like, I don't know when you're gonna leave again, because it's like I was like, you know what, I'm fed up, I'm done, and I'll be gone.
And that's
You know what I'm
abusive
saying?
on and you know that's
Yeah, that's
abusive
what I'm
on
saying.
both.
It's back and forth. That's what I'm
So
saying.
that's
So I can't blame it all on him. I definitely can't.
and that's not healthy for either one
Mhm.
of you.
Mhm.
And I understand, when I get it, like I say, this is, domestic violence awareness month, and I get it, but somebody's got to get off that abusive cycle.
Mhm.
Somebody has to, but you knew this going into the marriage.
Correct.
So did you really expect that he was gonna change?
It's usually how it is. Oh, we hope, we pray, we talked about it. We gonna work it out. You know how it is. You probably been there.
Yeah, I have. We see
Yeah.
we see the flags,
Mhm.
but we want what we want.
Mhm.
And it's to the point where we start to settle
Mhm.
for the mental abuse,
Mhm.
the verbal abuse, the physical abuse. Oh, he hit me one time. Oh, he's not gonna hit me again. Oh, he called me a bitch this time. Oh, he just playing. We start to make excuses for that,
Mhm.
and then
Yep.
again we start to lose ourselves in this. And now it's time for us to stop living in that hole.
Mhm.
You
You're
know,
right.
it's not healthy at all.
Unless two
'Cause-
people can actually come together,
Mhm.
and it's possible two people can actually come together and y'all help each other pick up the pieces. It don't have to be. It's called compromise.
Absolutely, that balance.
Yeah.
Yep.
So okay, instead of you leaving, let's sit here and talk it out. You communicate with me more. That's what we went wrong in this relationship, and that's how we fix it. Let's both pick
Yeah.
up the pieces.
Because I'm dealing with the abandonment. I just feel like I'm alone. So it's like I don't feel like you're there for me all the time. So I'm used to being feel abandoned because like I didn't have a real great relationship with my biological father, my stepfather. When I found out that he wasn't really my father, he also mistreated me. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, he mistreated me. And me and my twin sister just always wonder why it was just always such a towards us, but not towards my other siblings,
So
And so
that
that's what I was kind of grew up on, just always being just like men, period. So that's what I was used to, and it just seemed like I've always just attracted that for some reason.
because you allow that type of behavior because
Mhm.
it's normalized behavior. That's the word. It's normal behavior for you because this is what you see. So you may not intentionally be looking for these men that are like
Correct.
the stepfather, but they just you are what you attract.
Mhm.
And that's one of the things that we don't like to accept as women. We are what we attract. Same type of men. My father was not in my life, so I look for somebody to fill that father figure
There you
void.
go. Mhm.
I accepted the abuse because I wanted to be loved. But then at some point, I was like, you know what? I got to really start loving me. Like, I got to close these doors because this abuse shit, I'm over this. I'm over this mental abuse. I'm over this verbal and I'm over it. So I'm not tolerating it anymore. Now that I know the signs. But I pray for you, sis.
Yeah, girl, you got this. You just started off right, and y'all work things out. You can come to a conclusion and back on track. but she's got to compromise that.
But you got to love you. You have got to get into it. I'm talking about you got to love it so much that you're going to be
Even
like,
the mirror say, damn, you hot. Let the
absolutely.
mirror talk back to you.
You got to encourage yourself.
Yeah.
And that's something, you know, all women, men were guilty of. You know, we are so codependent on somebody giving us confirmation. You know, it's almost like, well, what you think? No, what do you think, Maggie? We have to start thinking for us. We have to start loving each other. We need to get in this mirror and start loving ourselves. Because I don't want to see you in nobody's hospital because you done checked out. You know what I'm saying? Because it just became too much for you. I can't even allow that to happen.
That's why I went on to seek therapy. I was paying that little money when I could. I was like, you know what? I am not going to be somebody, because how can I take care of my own when they got me strapped up somewhere in a crazy house?
In a paid room and got you on all types of medications that you don't even know if you're coming.
Don't even need. That's kind of how it was with my daughter. At first, it was just like, you know, she was in a they finally got a nice couple, like, cause unfortunately she is diagnosed with something, so she has to have something. You know, some people just do have that chemical imbalance in their brain. But I was also, a long time ago, I was taking antidepressants, and it made me like a zombie.
Oh yeah.
Had no kind of life. And imagine me just not having any kind of, just like, I mean, literally.
What's wrong with you ASAP?
And trying to take care of your children. You got to get back to love.
And then they try to scare you. Oh, you can't don't take it. It's dangerous to get off them antidepressants. You shitting me? I'm not going to allow that to control me.
Everything is
and I weaned myself off. I was like, never again. It's more side effects than it is to help you.
Exactly. That's what Yeah, am I gonna die taking something that's supposed to help me? Yeah, y'all pay attention to them side effect commercials.
So I said, I will figure it out. So
we gonna get
I'm okay. But gotta get better though.
You're gonna get better.
This is my therapy though. This is my therapy right here. Just doing this, talking, and you know what I'm saying? So any chance I can jump on, I will jump on, especially on a topic like this.
Baby, that's how,
because it just needs to be heard.
That's the whole premise, and that's what I tell people. That's the premise of Black Girl Interrupted, is because we've been conditioned to hold everything in. We've been conditioned to, we don't talk about it, you know, and that's traumatic, and that's not healthy for us. And that's why we get into these abusive relationships. We allow this abuse because we become numb to the trauma. We're used to it. So it's like we're expecting that. Oh, okay. I want to see, are you going to hit me today? Am I a bitch tomorrow? We expect it because there's trauma. Because we've been taught to hold that in. You don't talk about it. Oh, you'll be all right. You're praying away. But it's not. It's killing our Black people. It's killing us. And then we carry that baggage and we pass it on to our children. Our children pass it on to their children. You know, it's just a cycle. Nobody wants to take accountability, you know, for the trauma in our lives. And so that's why I say this is why we get into these types of relationships. Because that's what we're used to. You know. So let's roll on into the final thoughts. And this is just a recap of everything we talked about tonight. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. October is also Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So if you haven't gotten your tatas checked, go get them tatas checked. Go get them checked. Go get them titties squeezed on. Let them put it in the little thing and squeeze it. We need to find out, make sure you don't have cancer. But domestic violence awareness, I don't believe we should just limit it to October. We need to talk about it every day. As well as we need to talk about mental health every day. Because both of those are on the rise due to this pandemic. We're suffering in silence. If you can't afford therapy, please look for the resources. Right now, there's a lot of resources for people that can't afford to go to therapy. There's a lot of resources. reach out to somebody. If you're in a domestic violence relationship, please seek help. If you need to talk, send me a message. If you need a place to lay your head for a couple of days, hit my inbox. You come sleep on my couch. I'll give you my bed. I'll sleep on the couch. Just don't be another statistic. That's all I ask. Let's put an end to this.
And there's codes and everything that you can do now to try to get yourself out of that situation. They have it where you can call like the 911 to act like you're ordering a pizza.
You call
or
pizza.
Something like that.
You can call Pizza Hut. You can call the pizza place.
So there's definitely ways you can get out if you really need to get out, but at the same time, you gotta want to get out.
Yep.
Because I got a friend now, close. She's not in that situation anymore. Thank you. Hallelujah.
Yes.
But she was on the street walking with her kids one time, trying to get away from this person. And did everything I could to encourage and keep it going. And you go right back. It's to the point where your eye is coming out of your socket.
Yep.
It was that bad. And you just keep having children. You're
not trying to fix anything.
Because that's what they do. They beat you. Y'all have sex, makeup, here comes You had a baby. Hell, you beat your ass while you're pregnant.
Yep. On them drugs, you get on that shit, and you lose all kinds of sense of reality after that point.
That was my situation.
That's what they do. They throw it at you. It sounds good. It feels good. It looks good.
Everything that good ain't good.
That was my situation. He was on drugs. He was alcoholic, and the night he threw that boiling water on me, I think he had smoked some Sherm that day. Wet, clicker juice, whatever they call it, where they dip the weed in embalming fluid. Yeah. And that's what it took for me to leave. But I stayed 5 years. And it went from, like I say, it wasn't physical in the beginning. It started out, it was verbal, it was emotional, it was mental, then it got physical. It got to the point, sis, that when we would go places, I wouldn't even say hi to people. But I didn't want to set them off.
Yep, that's that control. That's like, don't you even look somebody in the eye. Don't you even speak when somebody come in the room.
If I said somebody had a nice shirt, he was go be with that nigga then. You know, that's what he would do. If I got off work, I told Keish, if I got off work at 10 o'clock, if I was supposed to get off at 10 o'clock and I didn't walk out the door at 10:15, I knew I was gonna get my ass kicked that night. Because he had a problem. Oh yeah, I knew it. I knew it was coming. But I stayed because I loved him. And through it all, even when he went to jail, I went and dropped the charge. I went and dropped the charge. I didn't take it back. I just dropped the charges and took off running. That's what I did. But it's hard. It's hard to get out of those relationships because the man has torn you down and has made you feel like you're nothing. But I want to tell each and every woman out here tonight, each and every man, because men go through domestic abuse, violence situations as well. But to you, my women, get out before it's too late because it does not get any better. It does not get any better. And there may not be a next time. It may not be a next time. I will post the links again. Let me roll that video back. Well, I know I won't roll the video back, but I will post the phone numbers for the domestic violence hotline. Please contact anybody. If you can go to a friend, family, help, post it on social media. I saw a young lady in Baltimore. I'm gonna share the story. We'll talk after the broadcast. But a young lady went on social media. She's been to the police. Everything. This man has created 70 Facebook accounts. He has broken into her house. He has stalked her mother, her ex-husband. Police won't do anything.
And that's how women are getting killed.
Mm-hmm.
before
Because
it's
every restraining order don't mean nothing to a lot
oh
of
yeah.
them.
And I think
That,
she's
that
had
don't mean nothing.
five. I want to say she's had 5 restraining orders on him. She's even the ex girlfriend that he was dealing with before her has restraining orders on him. She said she has put she's scared to change her number because she feels like he's put a tracking device in her phone, like everything. So ladies, if you could get out, go, run as fast as you can and don't look back. You are worthy. Do not let a man belittle you and tell you you are nothing. You are a queen. And I love you. And like I say, my inbox is always open. My phone number, hit me up. If you got my number, call me. We can talk. I can walk you how to get. So let's do that. So I want to thank each and every person that tuned in tonight. Thank you guys for even allowing me to share my story tonight. Tune in next Tuesday, because guess what? It's about to get juicy because we about to talk about sex.
Oh, well, you know
Everybody,
that's my subject.
everybody loves sex. And sex feels good when it's with the right person. But don't forget, next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Central Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Love y'all. Thank you for joining Black Girl Interrupted tonight. Shout out to my sis Keish. Shout out to my sister Maggie T for joining us tonight for a little girl talk and a little love, a little laughter, and a lot of tears.
Yeah, because I'm about to take this wig off.
Oh,
Girl, cute though.
ain't that cute? So I love you guys. See y'all Tuesday.